we're going to start with the three things that you need to put a top string in your lacrosse stick. That is, of course, your mesh, a sidewall string, and the head that you're going to string. The first thing that you're going to need to do is tie a knot in your sidewall string. We're going to find one end of the string, doesn't matter which, they're both the same, and you're going to start by making a loop. It looks something like this. You make the loop around, come here, pull the bottom up through it, so you're going to have something like this. And what I like to do, it's not everybody does it, but is go down and through again another time. It's going to look something like this. Just a basic knot, and you're going to slide the knot up towards the top and pull it. It's going to end up looking something like this. So when your lacrosse mesh first comes out of the package, it's going to be super stiff and it's not going to be wide enough to fit in a stick correctly. So the first thing you're going to need to do with it, it's going to take 5 or even 3 minutes and just stretch it out. Stretch it out all the way and just keep pulling at the sides until it looks something like this. And then you're going to just repeat the process until the mesh stays more spread apart. This is the first part, and it's important because how spread out your mesh is and how broken in it is will lead to how the stick throws in the end and how easy it is to string the stick. So it depends on the stick and depends where you like your pocket to be strung, but there's 2 holes. Your 2 top holes here are where you're going to start your stringing. And the safe bet, no matter what stick it is to always go for the second one down. What you're going to want to do is grab your stick like this and line up your leftmost thing of mesh with it. And you're going to want the fold coming away to the back of the stick, as you want the rough part facing the inside where the ball is going to go. So you line it up somewhat with, you line up your outermost diamond with the second hole on the stick. You're going to want to hold it here and grab the mesh. Now we're going to connect the diamond to the stick, and that goes with outside in. So your strings like that, and then up into the mesh hole from below. Pull it tight, and then put it back through the same hole again. So it looks something like this, and then you just pull. You're going to want to make sure this ending, this little poking part here, is above the loop. And you're going to want to pull and make sure the mesh is on top of the stick. So once you have your knot tightened up to the side of your stick, you're going to want to pull up and through the bottom of your mesh. For this head in particular, it's a Under Armour Command Low, and it has grooves on some of the top holes here where you're going to want to put your knots. And you're not going to want to put them in the holes where there is no groove, as it's going to rub against the ground when you pick up balls and eventually just going to erode away your top string. So you're going to want to string only in the ones that have grooves and not in the ones that don't. So essentially you're just going to want to skip these 2 holes. The first knot that you're going to do is you're going to want to line up this diamond with this hole on the back of the sidewall. You are going to have to do it all in one motion, but I'll show you what it looks like in slow-mo first before you do it. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go through the back of the head, come back up through the front of the mesh, make a sort of L shape, or whatever this shape is, with the string coming down through the back, the string coming up through the front of the mesh, and over across your diamond. So your next step is going to be going back down through the mesh, leaving this sort of loop here. And then you're going to want to come back up through the front of the head and coming in this loop. And then you're just going to want to pull up and down, pull up and down, pull up and down to tighten it. It's the best way to tighten it. It doesn't look very sophisticated, but it works. And you should end up with something looking like this. Just, there's a knob at the top of each mesh that looks like this, and that's where you want to center your knot on. It should be split between these two little strings at the top of your knot. Those two knots are the only ones you need to know how to do for your top string, so once you know how to do those, you can just follow the time lapse to see where to put the rest of your knots. Since you're doing a 9 diamond top string, there is 9 diamonds on the top of the head. So you're going to want to make sure a hole matches up with each one. So you have 1 hole, 1 diamond, 1 hole, 1 diamond, 1 hole, 1 diamond that you skip, 1 hole, 1 diamond, and since there's no hole in the top, you also skip this diamond. 1 hole, 1 diamond, 1 hole, 1 diamond, 1 hole, 1 diamond, 1 hole, 1 diamond. If you've done everything correctly, this center diamond should be centered in the middle of the stick, and it should be the same tightness all the way through. You're going to want to do it to the second hole on this side. So what you're going to want to do to tie the same knot is come down through the mesh and then up through the second hole, down through the mesh again, and then up through the second hole again. I'm just going to want to put tight and tie off a little knot here. And making sure there's as little slack as possible, so there's less slack in the stick. So there you have it. There's a tutorial on how to string your top string and your lacrosse stick. Thanks for watching, and hope it helped you learn a little bit.